Okay. I am recording. Okay, great. Thank you for putting your names on there. I appreciate it. Okay, so I have a couple updates I'm going to go over quickly, and then we're going to hear from our expert panel, which is they're going to be much more exciting than me. So last year, DPI unveiled a new tracker to help track your programs and consolidate the information in a way that makes it easy to translate into your annual report. There were some changes to the annual report for this year, for 2022. And I haven't gotten clear information about that yet. I will pass that along to you as soon as I can. But at this point, this is the same tracker that we gave you last year. And I'll just show it to you here quick. If you haven't looked at it, where are we going? Oh, sorry. Of course, everything's working great because I'm in a meeting. Here we go. Okay, so it is a Excel sheet. Don't be afraid of it. They provide the tips here on this tab for how to add rows and columns into it without shifting all your data. They provide definitions about each type of activity and what constitutes, in their minds, the definition of each kind of activity or program. This is the tab on which you would be doing the actual recording of your data. And then it neatly adds it up and dumps it into this, which this page mimics the actual annual report that the director will be filling out. So it kind of makes it easy to tabulate that data if you're doing it all year long. Then it's not such a big crunch at the end of, or I should say in January, at the beginning of the year.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah.
On my screen, I'm just seeing a blank white that says redirecting still.
Oh, okay. Let me try something here.
Maybe I'm off, but
well, I'll try to reshare and see. How is that?
Yeah, that's good. Better.
Okay. I'm so sorry. So I'll go over that again quickly here. The first tab on the left is the definitions. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. And that gets into the nitty-gritty of what do I count as what kind of program or what kind of activity. Then on this tab is tips for how to add rows and columns. If you've ever been frustrated by Excel, this is really helpful about how you can modify it to fit your needs. And let's see, move this. This is the actual tab on which you'll be recording your programs and your attendance. And the tab here will give you instructions on how to add information, or if you need to, as I said, add rows and columns. And then the annual report summary tab adds together all of that information for you. So you don't have to go through and count which kind of program, which age, all of that. It just dumps it all into this page, which is really nice. Okay. Sorry, we had a couple of people pop out and pop back in there. So I'm just going to pause a minute. Are there any more questions about that? Are you guys able to see it when I change from tab to tab?
Yes. It seemed to work fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. Can you just give me one moment, please? I have to talk to my child for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for waiting. Okay. get back to my, okay. Find my screen again. Okay, thank you for waiting. Okay, I have a very unhappy child who can't get on the Wi-Fi right now. It's distracting. Okay, so Beanstack. How many of you are using Beanstack? You want to raise your hand? Either your literal hand or your emoji hand. Okay.
I
Okay.
just haven't been able to invest the time into it. I
Okay.
just have too much else going on to even attempt it.
Okay. I have heard that before too, and I recognize that that's a barrier for you guys. I did share some upcoming training opportunities that Beanstack is hosting, if that's helpful. My family. And I wanted to say DPI has been really pushing out Beanstack to school librarians as well this year, trying to get all of the schools on board. So if you haven't looked into it, it's a good time to try, because you might be able to have the school do a lot of the front loading for you, like getting the kids all invested into it and signed up. And then they can I didn't answer the one phone, right? Jeez. My apologies. The if this the way I'm looking at it is that if the school has most of the students in it, you're going to have those people coming and already signed up, and then they can sort of do both programs at the same time. They can do the school program and your program, and their reading time counts for both programs, so they can get all kinds of badges and incentives that way, and so increase their motivation. So it might be a good time to look into it if you haven't. And I'm exploring this in my school, so I'm hoping that I can, because I'll be using it too, I can be a better resource to support you guys in learning how to use it.
Unfortunately, I think for me, unless I had like an in-person, like we sit down and create it all at the same time type of workshop, even the training opportunities, it's tough to get even to those. So
Okay.
I appreciate that they're recorded, and I had tried to get on two of them a couple years ago. But I feel like I'm doing double the work at times, because I know I still have to do paper stuff for some of my my community. So, adding that on top, it just seems like I'd have to have a dedicated day to focus on it.
Okay. I can look into that. Is that something that's interesting to other people as well? Like if I reached out to Beanstack and to find out if they could do something like that?
It might be helpful. I know when I tried to go online and do the training, it was like entering a foreign world. I mean, I couldn't tell a badge from a program, from a group. I mean, there was just so many, it was so immense. I'm like, I just want a simple little easy, keep track of books program. So I struggled with it, but I don't know, in person might help, but again, it's a time issue. It takes a lot of time to put something like that together. And if 5 people use it, kind of feel like I invested a lot of time for not much, return.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, Sherry, because there's just me as the youth person, and we don't have a director right now. I don't have any help in creating that backside of the program. And I feel like we had maybe 8 people that used it last year and the year before, maybe 12. And I just feel like it's just not worth our time. I'd rather be using it in using my time differently.
Okay.
I also, I don't know know a lot of the other libraries get a lot more people involved in theirs. I'm happy if we get 25. Last year I was ecstatic because we had 50, you know, so like just having that low of numbers in general, and then, you know, putting all this work into it, it was kind of like the page turner. I thought it was a great thing. And then when it came time to implement it, it was a little bit more work than I had anticipated, just because of having to make sure that all the links were lined up and the days to post them and all that. And I mean, it was still cool, but we only had like 20 logins. So for me, it just wasn't worth the price either.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Platteville, we the last 2 years only offered Beanstack, and our numbers were way down. This year, because we're back to work better, we're planning to offer both a Beanstack option and a paper option. But in 2020, it was like summer, we're all at home. This is your option. 2021, we were still not back 100%, so we just offered it. But a lot of people didn't like it. And so this year, because we're all back to work, we're going to give them a paper option as well as the Beanstack. So we're hoping our numbers will go back up.
I wonder if that is true for, or would be true for other people too. Like it's slow to get implemented, and then once it is, builds every year.
In Dodgeville, it was slow to begin with, and I agree with everybody. The terminology and figuring out how to implement it was very challenging, particularly during that first year when I was working from home, and it didn't seem like there was enough support. But now my families have gotten used to it, and I use it for multiple things. And I probably won't go back to a paper route. If a family comes in and says, oh, Carol, I've added 20, I read 25, I just add it for them.
Okay.
Yeah, we did start up 1,000 books before kindergarten on Beanstack. That was our second try. And then this winter in February, we did a winter reading for all ages. And that was surprisingly well attended. So I think it's starting to catch on here. But yeah, there are people that just don't have access to a smartphone or, you know, the internet on a reliable basis. So we will probably still offer some kind of paper thing this year.
I might have missed the beginning, but are they, now this is the last year that that we're paid for, yes?
Yes.
Or is that going to be an extension?
I don't know. I haven't heard yet.
Okay.
But I'm kind of guessing, since they're just rolling it out this year in schools, that they will extend it, because they do want there to be more school and public library collaborations. So
Okay.
we have a meeting in April where I think that will be discussed, and I can give you some more details about it after that.
Okay. There was a big push through the schools. How was that implemented?
Yes, the schools were, got emails every week until we signed up for a training. And, but this part may be different from what you guys are describing, is that Beanstack built the whole thing for me, put my school logo in it, set up the challenges.
Ooh.
I just had, they also, I mean, we have the, school management system, you know, where all the kids and their teachers and the grades are all in this database. And so it communicates with that. And so it loaded every teacher with every kid. It was very beautiful and seamless, which is
Yeah,
not
that's
the way it
nice.
sounds for you.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting it implemented, so I haven't created a challenge or anything like that, but I have logged in and recorded 2 books that I read. And so I'm just starting to figure it out myself. I don't know overall throughout the state, like what level of onboarding has occurred.
Okay.
I can find that out in our April meeting
Yeah.
too.
It's nice that they got it to work with the other database so that you don't have all of that work, the extra work to do.
Yes.
That's lovely.
Yeah. But I could see that they couldn't do the same thing for you guys because of patron privacy, and you're not linking your patrons in the same way. You know, you're not linking patrons to teachers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different sort of setup.
How would you work together to collaborate then?
Once they're in Beanstack, then you can link their school library account to their public library account. They have to do it, but we would provide instructions. And then they can participate in the public libraries challenges and the school libraries challenges.
So the individual families have to link
Yep.
the accounts. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to see what I can find out to get you guys more support and more information around Beanstack. I took some notes here while we were talking. Finally heard back from Pizza Hut. Yes, we're getting personal pan pizza certificates. And I did send out an email yesterday where you can sign up for how many certificates you want, but there's a link to that survey here too, if you're just hearing about it now. And you have probably seen this already, I'm assuming. The manual, the CSLP manual and the access code are linked here, just so you kind of have everything in one space. Any questions before I move on to our expert panel? Okay, so I don't see Candy on today, so I'm not gonna we're not gonna have Candy's expertise, but I thought the other three of you could, I emailed them some like prompts before our meeting, but you're also free to speak about what you want to speak about in regards to how you built your program and what's been successful for you and what has not. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys for a little while, and then after our panel is done discussing their topics, I just have a bunch of resources that I was going to talk about and invite you guys to add to this document, so that if you have really great go-to resources, you can plunk them in here, and this can be sort of a one-stop shop for people. So keep that in the back of your mind. And I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin. Caitlin, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. And I'm going to turn my sound off.
All right. Well, I'm just kind of going to go down the list that Carrie gave us as far as like topics. And if you guys have questions, feel free to like stop me whenever, because I tend to just ramble sometimes. But the first thing was like the best thing from last summer. I honestly think the best thing from last summer was just seeing the kids again and getting them in here. We had, I believe, like 238, which was a huge number for us. I know that they didn't all participate the whole time, but it was amazing to see that many people just in and around again. And I think one of our favorite things that we did was add an adult summer reading program. Before, we only had little kids summer reading program, well, little kids and young adults, which was totally fine, but the parents were really excited to get prizes too. We had baskets for them to win. I think we had like 12 of them, so that was really, really fun. And our successful programs from the summer, let's see. One of our most successful things was probably our amazing races that we do. So we'll pick a theme and we just kind of run rampant. We used to run rampant around the town because of COVID. We were outside, and then we tried to do one inside the library, which actually worked out a lot better for people to be able to go and not have to drive. Like if kids wanted to play, but their parents didn't really want to, then they could still participate. This summer, we're actually going with kind of a hybrid. We're doing 3. So our first one is going to be Jurassic Park themed, which we did last summer, and it was incredibly popular. We have the blow up dinosaur suits and everything, and we chase kids around the library. And there's a dinosaur attack. It's a good time. Then we'll have a Titanic one, and we'll also be doing kind of an explorers and pirates one for our final one, which will be like August 2nd or something. It's almost one of the last days of summer reading for us, but it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm like, if you guys ever have any questions about that, I can totally tell you more about the Amazing Races if you want to know. We're collaborating with the Parks and Rec Department on the last two. So for the Explorers one, we're actually going to have them go from the library down to the Washington Street Park, which is maybe like 4 blocks away, really, maybe a mile. They can walk. It'll be fine. It's good for them to get out and walk. But then they'll be canoeing across part of the little river strip up there and actually gaining some summer skills. So it's not just all in-house. And for Titanic, they'll also be going between here and the pool, which they will need a car to get to that one. But it'll be fun and add a little bit more adventure to the whole thing. So we're very much looking forward to that. And those have been very successful in the past. Actually, I'm in the midst of planning an Avengers themed one for the end of April. And it's going to be fun because they have to collect all of the Infinity Stones and you can get snapped out, everything. It's about to get very, very violent in the library.
How far is it from the library to the pool?
From us to the pool, it's a little bit of a trek. Plus, there is the major highway kind of running through there. So that
so
one,
it's more of a family.
Yes, that one's
Okay.
definitely. Well, I didn't really want them to go to the pool without their parents either. So it was
Right, right.
if they have to, take their van. Plus, I mean, I've seen some people book it on their bikes for these things and they don't mind, but they're crazy.
Tell us about your prize baskets, Caitlin.
Oh yeah. So for we do them for the kids and the young adults and the adults, but our prize baskets are a lot of things that are made up from either if we get businesses to donate things or if we get businesses to donate money, and then we go buy, we like to buy a couple of local things and some cool things from Walmart. Every once in a while we had to add something from Amazon, but last year our most popular one was a Nicholas Sparks. It had all the Nicholas Sparks movies in it and a couple of the books and some blankets and chocolate and some really super fun glasses that changed color with like the beverage temperature. That one was really popular. We had kind of a Christian fiction basket with a cute little mug and a candle. That one was pretty popular. We did a Western one. We had a Back to the Future basket with like the board game in it and a couple of movies from the 80s, which was also really fun. I'm a bit of an 80s freak. I'm not even I wasn't even alive during the 80s. I can't claim them at all. But...
That's why.
But it's a good time. And we had several businesses give us gift certificates and coupons, and every participant of the adult summer reading program last year got a gift certificate to one of the local businesses, at least one. I think they actually got 2, but when it all worked out, our sign up for them was a little smaller, but it's okay because it was our first year. So we can take 40 as a good number.
Yeah.
And then for the kids, we did we had some baby Yodas, which was, if you have never gotten a baby Yoda for a prize, let me tell you, that's a good way to spend your money. If you're wondering what's a good way, that's a good way. We had a movie basket and some art kits, just markers and stuff. Our kids seem to really love markers and anything they can do. Some sidewalk chalk, bubbles. I think we had a Hunger Games set the past 2 years, and those have went pretty well. What else did we do for those that was super popular? I think Lego. This year we're going to have a Pokemon basket, which is going to be a big deal. I have no idea where the Pokemon came back from, but they are here and alive and they want prizes. um, and we're hoping to maybe do like a blow up suit, like one of the dinosaur suits that we run around in, but for kids. Probably not the 7-foot tall one because I'm 5'5" and I can almost not see out of it sometimes. So if you're thinking about getting those, just watch your sizing.
Caitlin, how did it work with the baskets? Was there a drawing at the end or how did that work?
Yeah, so the kids we do like the 15 minutes check off thing. I actually made up my own sheet for that because I wanted to be able to put more of them on a sheet. It felt like we were going through so much paper. Printing them out as being stacked didn't really jive for a lot of our patrons, but we have them check off the thing, and after every sheet of paper, then they'll get like an entry. And they were also getting entries for coming to events, for just reading in general, for checking out specific themed books. So they'd get those and then they could pick whichever one of the kid or young adult prizes they wanted to put it in. And at the end, we drew them all out. It can be a lot of paper sometimes. This summer, I think we have a big stuffed dog that we're going to do for the people. Like every time you check out a book this summer, you get to do an entry. There's a pile of those is going to be a giant mountain, and we will regret this, I am sure, but it will be fun and the kids will have a great time. I don't know how we're going to draw it. Maybe we can jump into it like one of those big ball pits and pull one out. But we generally just have a really big box that we put all of their entries in, and you can tell like Baby Yoda was probably the most popular one last year. He had a huge number of them, and then we put everybody's name into like the final grand prize one that we thought people would think was cool. Like I think last year we did Kindles. We're looking for something a little bit more fun because it seems like all the kids have Kindles and they're just not quite as excited about them anymore. Or they have, their computers from school, which they can do all of that stuff on. So they don't need Kindles anymore, apparently. But yeah, then we draw them out for like a grand prize, and so everybody has a chance at that one. So I think the kids really appreciate that, so they still have a chance at winning something even if they didn't win that. But it can take longer because we usually wait for the kids to pick up their baskets before we say, hey, we're not drawing, like in case someone was only here for the summer and they're not coming back. Then we'll move on to the next person who might be able to pick up their prize. But yeah, did you have any other questions about the baskets? Or did I answer sort of?
Yeah, that helps a lot. I've always kind of struggled with that. How do you distribute, if you have a prize, to make it fair and with entries and things like that. So that helps a lot. Gives me a lot of good ideas for ways to approach that.
Yeah, it's all kind of up to you and how well you know your patrons. We try something. If it doesn't work, try something else next year. So far, no children have like attacked me with a Nerf gun afterward or anything. That is also a really great prize if you guys haven't thought about them. Nerf guns are really, really popular at our library, but that's probably because we have Nerf night. So
Caitlin, do you do a weekly program as well, or do you just do these amazing races throughout the summer?
we have a weekly program. This year's, I have it all scheduled out. It's about to get crazy up in here. I probably do like a little bit, two sorts of crazy, but this year, if I was to run you through like a general week. So our summer reading program will start on June 6th. And then on that Wednesday, we're going to have Nerf night, which will have a theme and everything for it. Something under the sea, I'm sure. I'm having our team employees try and help me pick on a couple of themes. And then Thursday we do our kickoff for tie-dye, which has always been a popular thing. They just bring whatever shirt, shorts, beach towel, whatever they want, and they get to tie-dye. And then Friday we're gonna actually have the Dino Dimensions from Stretz Entertainment will be here. and do that program. And that's just kickoff week. Then all of the rest of the weeks will follow kind of a format. We'll have story time on Monday at 4. And then Tuesday, I think that's actually our first Amazing Race. And Wednesday, we'll play movies in the afternoon, so that it'll be some under the water themed, like I think Finding Nemo is on there and everything. Thursday, we'll have our young adult writing program, which is a lot of fun. I hope I get a couple more kids. Last year, it was mostly my employees who thought it would be fun to sign up. So it was me with all of the teen pages, which they're adorable for coming, but hoping I can get a couple more people. And then Friday, we'll also do story time, but in the morning. And I generally do story time with like, we'll have a story, maybe a guest story reader. And we'll try and do kind of an experiment, maybe themed with water, so they get a little something cool to look at. And then some sort of activity. We also do take and makes for the entire week. And those numbers are always a hard one to guess for us because our first week is like generally really popular. Second week's generally popular. And then you hit that last week of June and there's no one in town. So,
So are the take and makes at the library, or are they like craft kits?
they're like craft kits that they can take home with
Okay.
them. We've done, I can remember the one that Brianna put together for them last year that they really loved was the shark, and you use like newspaper to make its mouth or whatever
Love
it
that
is. And the
one,
kids
yeah.
really love that one. And it is super easy and everything. Brianna's great at putting our craft stuff together. I wish I could do it myself, but I do not have that kind of time anymore.
So Caitlin, you were talking about they kind of peter out at the end of June. How long does your summer programming go?
Our programming goes for 10 weeks because it does pick up again after like the 4th of July. We just have that last week of June and that first week of July where there's like no one in town. So I kind of don't plan a whole ton of programming or anything. And we go pretty low key for the crafts and low key for everything, even the experiments, and then kind of ramp back up in the middle of July when everybody comes back from whatever family vacation they went on, which is just fine with me because it's like a nice little break after you've had like this horrible couple of weeks, and horrible in a way, I say this lovingly, but very, very busy.
Do you not have any issue with overlapping with like summer school or kids sports? Because that's something that we have to get most of our major programs done in June. And then we still continue the reading, but we don't like schedule any events really after much further than like the first week in July.
Yeah, most of our like the kids with the school and everything is kind of at the beginning of the summer for us. And they're kind of done by that second week in July, it seems like. And even like the little league baseball and softball, all of that kind of starts in the beginning for us and then is done, you know, halfway through July. So they're more around in August. I compete a lot less with them. I have this whole giant chart of where all the community programming is at for this summer, like trying very hard not to step on anybody's toes. And I think I like weasel into someone's other time by like a half an hour. I was trying to be super kind and I was like, next year I'm planning first and they can work around me. But it was a task and a half to try and even remotely not try and step on anybody's toes. But most of like Little League practice and everything has been in the mornings. So by having a lot more stuff in the afternoons, except for Friday morning, when Friday's kind of the day a lot of places in town do programming, but theirs is later in the afternoon. So Friday had always been a popular story time for us. I don't know. It depends.
It's interesting how different the different communities are, because ours doesn't ramp up until July-ish. And then for summer school, and the sports are always in the afternoon. So I have to, but we don't open until 10. So I have to like get it between 10 and 11:30, because then you're dealing with lunch and naps. And then like 3 to 4 is usually okay, but then it's sports practices. So yeah, that's interesting to hear.
Totally hear you on that one. Working around like their snacks and their nap times. And that's what I mean. We have popcorn at our movies too. So it does help. Like they can have a little snack or they can bring whatever food they want because it's in the basement and we can clean it up. But yeah, I totally hear you on that. It can be rough trying to plan around stuff. Did anybody have any other questions about any of that? Okay, well, I think we've
you.
kind of, what?
I said, thank you, Caitlin.
Oh, okay, you're welcome. I don't know if you wanted to hear, we do tend to get a lot of donations. We'll actually be headed out at the like second week of May because Elizabeth, my co-director, she is headed to Disneyland. I don't know why she wants to be there instead of here, but it's totally fine. But we'll head out and we'll actually be getting donations from our community. We make a big push to try and do it ourselves just to get out there and see people, make sure that they know that we're as invested in the program and them trying to donate to their community as we hope they are in donating to our community's programming. So that's just a thing for us. I know sometimes it can be hard to get out there and see everybody. Sometimes it's a lot easier to send letters, but they are super stoked to see us in person. And we also take our dinosaur costume and our unicorn costume and take a picture outside their business to help promote them as a sponsor during summer reading as well, which is, it's a lot of fun. I got to bowl in the dinosaur costume last year, so.
I was going to chime in that when I was in public library, the local businesses really appreciated. They didn't feel like it was a hardship for us to ask for them to donate because we did a lot of promotion of them, and things like you're describing, like the picture with the dinosaur, but also just like promoting the basket and saying this was donated by so-and-so, and then talking about it again when somebody wins it. So they got like multiple mentions out of that one donation. I found businesses really didn't mind donating.
Yeah, they totally love it, especially when you can give them that promotion. I mean, we've got Facebook and Instagram, and we got TikTok last summer. We'll see how we do on promoting stuff on TikTok this year. I'm apparently too old and like to call it tiki-talkie, which drives some of my younger employees absolutely crazy.
I think we're all teetering on the edge of the TikTok, wondering, should we do it?
Well, it is not as complicated as you would think, but it's a very large rabbit hole. So just make sure that you have a couple of hours when you first initially sign up would be my advice on that one. But I think that's basically what I have as far as like stuff I came up with to share with you guys.
Thank you, Caitlin. You gave us a lot of great tips. It was really great to hear about your program.
Well, thank you.
Erin, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
I am hooked up remotely, so I will freeze and move. So yeah, COVID was definitely a challenge. Just following up with Caitlin, we really didn't ask for donations the last 2 years because we knew how hard businesses had been hit, but things are starting to turn around. So I think this year we will go back to more requests from local businesses. Last year, we were completely outside with everything. And one of our big attendances was working with Parks and Rec. On Mondays, we offered Messy Monday. So they were at the park every day after summer school from 3 to 5. And on Mondays, we came and did something really terribly messy. And the worst, I have to say, was the paper mache. We ended up kind of getting taken to task on that one by the city cleanup crew, and we had to go and help clean up on that one. But that was really popular. And we did bubbles, we did shaving cream painting, we did all kinds of things every Monday at the park. We also had really good turnout with our story times at the park. In fact, all but one parent said they loved it. They wish we would do outside story times all the time. So this summer we are continuing outside with the littles since they are ones who have not been vaccinated and will not wear masks. So outside this summer, we're doing our preschool, or we call it family story time. It's really for all ages. So that will be outside one more time. Some of the other popular things, every year we do a lot of passives, and we have really good numbers with our passive activities. We always buy inflatables that fit the theme. So I've got some ocean inflatables, and every Monday we move them somewhere, hide them in the library, and there's a letter next to each inflatable. The little kids only have to find the inflatable, write down what the letter is. The bigger kids have to find them, write down the letters, and then unscramble them to answer a question at the bottom. And we do that all summer long from June through the end of August. And then every Monday we pull 2 or 3 names out of the box and the kids get a prize. And we have tons of turnover with that, big numbers all summer long on that one. We also have a coloring contest, and we have a sheet with a theme. What was last year's theme? I can't even remember. And so the kids just decorate it, they leave it here, or they bring it back from home if they've taken it home to do it, and we decorate the library with it. And then at the end of August, we have someone on the staff actually do a judging, and we have 4 age groups, and they all win prizes for that, and that's been pretty popular. Last year, our library foundation purchased a book bike, and we took the book bike to story times, to music in the parks, to the Pride Day. I mean, anything that was happening in the city, somebody showed up with the library book bike, and that has been a really popular attraction. In fact, in the fall, we had the 4K, 5K teacher ask if we would come to the school with the book bike. So we did that in September when they went back to school. One of our biggest attendances outside was our pet show, which was our grand finale last summer. We had an animal theme. That's what it was. And that was really well attended. This year is going to be a little different. The littles will be outside, but we are bringing everybody else back inside. And yes, our weeks are crazy. Monday night is a family fun night at the park, because working parents can't come to our Tuesday morning story time. They just can't. And so this year we're offering a Monday night, and we're going to alternate. So the first week will be stories. The second week is going to be yoga. And the third week is going to be a dance party. And then we'll just rotate that through the summer. Tuesday mornings, story time at the park, which has been very well attended. And we kind of took our baby story time and our preschool story time, combined them into one program. And that is what we offer on Tuesday mornings. It's very interactive with the parents or grandparents, as the case may be. Wednesday afternoon, we do our teen programming. And we're kind of rotating that too. One week will be art. The next week is some kind of a food. And the third week is, I can't remember. I'm not in charge of that one, but so we'll rotate those out. So 3 in June, 3 in July, 3 in August. And then Thursday afternoons, we have a drop-in for school age. We're calling it Super Summer Splash or something like that. A lot of water experiments, hands-on kind of things in our bigger room. We also might be taking them outside if it's really, really messy. Bucket brigades or things like that might end up under the awning between the hotel and the library. If you've never been, yes, we're connected to a hotel. It is very weird. Something else we started last year, a dial-a-story. We actually are paying a company, a dial-a-story company. It's a little pricey, but our library foundation's paying for it. But I went to a webinar a few months ago, and they talked about how they started their own dialogue story using Google. And I don't know how, but you can record your own stories and set it up so people can call and listen to stories. We record them and put new stories out every Monday. And that's been pretty well attended. We used to have, okay, way back 80s, forget the 80s. It was
Indeed.
not a cassette. It was what was before cassettes? I can't even remember. The
Beta.
old, well, yeah, sort of
Was
like
it
a
the
beta. And that
reel
was
to
what
reel?
the stories were on. And then we moved up to cassette, and then the machine died. And so we hadn't had it for a long time, but now those parents are so excited about Dial-A-Story again, because when they were little, they remember hearing the stories, but this time library staff is actually recording them. So that's really nice that they hear our voice on the phone. Some collaboration. Last summer, I was approached by AmeriCorps, and they had a farm to school program they were doing with the public school, and they wanted to do something in the summer. So this lady did some snack workshops for little kids and some cooking workshops for big kids, and they were very popular. We were still masking, so, not huge numbers, but they were good. So this summer, she's going to be coming on Tuesdays and offering what she calls Garden Detectives. And it's a 10-week program. And she's going to be, again, school-age kids can come in and learn about gardening and hands-on things, food, crafts. And so that is something new this year that we're going to be offering.
Do you think, Erin, she
but-
would be willing to come to different libraries, or is it just a local person?
I know the university pays her through AmeriCorps, so I'm not sure what it's a grant, so I'm not sure how far reaching that grant would be. The next time I see her, I can ask her though and add it to this document.
Thanks, Erin.
Letting her in.
Let's see, another thing, we were approached, our summer school in Platteville, they have fun summer school. The first 3 weeks school's out, so it's the 3 weeks of June. And it's fun for kids, and they get to do things like, hey, I'm taking a Minecraft class for 3 weeks, or I'm taking different things. Well, one of the school teachers thought it'd be fun to bring him to the library for 3 weeks. So we're still in the figuring out exactly how this is going to work. She doesn't know she'll get any kids to sign up for it, but it'll be 2nd to 5th graders. And we're thinking, hey, maybe they could write their own stories and record them on our Dial-A-Story. That was one of the things we thought they could do while they were here. If they're here at the right time, they could come to the garden program on Tuesdays. So we're still in the works with that, but that would be how we're we offer our programs for 8 weeks. And we know for 3 weeks, kids might be at summer school, but they still can come the other 5. We used to, I understand completely, Megan, try to work around the city rec and the schools. And we just got to the point where I made sure I don't have a big program or presenter on a day that something else big in town is going on. But now it's just like, you know what? We offer a bunch of stuff. Come when you can. We can't even work around the city and the community. It's just, Platteville has too much going on. We would drive ourselves crazy. So we figured out what works best for us, and that's what we're doing. For ticket wise and prizes, before Beanstack, when the kids signed up, they got a ticket. When they finished their reading and turned their reading log in, they got a ticket. If they came to any drop-in activities, not things they had to sign up for, because then if they didn't get in because it was full, that wasn't fair. They couldn't get a ticket. So any drop-ins, they would get a ticket. And then we would have nice little prizes. A great place for kind of free prizes. If you buy Disney movies, inside they have that little piece of paper that you can go to disneyrewards.com and you keep track of your points. And you're going to buy the movie anyway. And I open an account and I put my points in. And after I get so many points, this year I've got they're not bobbleheads, but they kind of look like it, that are from Encanto. And those are a couple of my prizes. With the younger kids, I buy a book that goes with the prize. Sometimes people donate nice nice things that we put aside for prizes. In the past, before COVID, we got prizes from our local businesses. No, Megan, no, I was just saying that I agree completely, Megan. It's too hard working around. She thought I was saying bad things about me. No, I meant, it is hard to work around the city. But anyway, so every child that finishes the summer gets a prize bag. And our bag includes a free Pizza Hut pizza. Thank you, Pizza Hut. And then our local Subway always gives a sub for the kids. And we had one of our workers, her dad owned Dairy Queen, so they always got an ice cream coupon. And then I would ask the Library Foundation for money. Before COVID, we had a book fair. And I would take the money from the foundation, and the Optimists and the JCs also gave us money, divided that amongst the kids. So they would get between $4 and $8 to spend at the book fair. And so that was one of the prizes. When COVID hit, no more book fair. So I bought books from Scholastic and Book Depot. And then at the final party, we had a table with books. And so when they came, they got their prize bag, and they also got a free book. So that is something that they get every year. But the money from that, and Book Depot is really, really, really good for pricing, but the price of the shipping is what kills you. So I don't know if you'd want to go in with some other smaller libraries and kind of share the cost of shipping is where they get their money, really. But every child gets a free book. Every child gets a little bag of coupons. And then I usually buy things like a color changing pencil or a temporary tattoo. So every child that finishes gets that little prize bin. And then now with Beanstack, they earn their tickets through doing the activities online. So we took pictures of the prize, you earn a ticket, and right then you say, okay, I want my ticket to go towards this prize. So that's all built into Beanstack. This year we are going to try to offer a paper one, so we're going to have to figure out how we're going to get the paper ones and know what they want their tickets to go towards. So we're still working out the logistics on that. But let's see, what else did we have? We do adult adult Beanstack summer, and somebody else is in charge of that, but she always buys one big thing. Last year they were water bottles with our logo. This year she has the little 6-pack coolers that have our logo. And so when adults finish, they get a free book and they get whatever the big prize is. And then the teens are just in the drawings for the regular Beanstack prizes. And then they all got last year, our local coffee shop gave them each a free drink coupon. So our numbers haven't been huge for the last couple of years because of COVID and changing to Beanstack. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this year. I think that's all that I had to talk about. If you have questions, let me know. I will fill you in.
Thank you, Erin.
You're welcome.
Anybody have questions for Erin? All right, Kristen, it's all you.
Oh dear. So I know some of you have been doing this much longer than I have and have wonderful ideas, but this is what I do. And it's been I've only been doing youth services since 2017. So it's been kind of a ongoing, tweak it as it goes along, I guess. So post-COVID, we did 2 programs a week on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. I really tried to look at all of the different schedules, and they used to not do summer school, but 3 years ago, then they started doing summer school. And so that was just so disappointing because it takes up, it just, there's not really a free spot with nothing going on. So Erin, you're right, because I just decided last year I'm just going to do it, and whoever shows up, shows up. So 2020, we did virtual, and that was a little bit of a disappointment. I know everybody's we did three stories, a recorded programs and books, and then recorded crafts and had craft kits, and all of the craft kits went out, but not very many views online. So I even dressed up, which don't like doing. I'm sorry, Caitlin, your dinosaur kind of wigs me out a little bit, but if somebody else wants to come in and dress up like a dinosaur, I am all game for that. So last year was really great because we had our first intern, and then we also did everything outside. And we're lucky enough to have a beautiful park where, the library is on a park, right? So we have all that wonderful outdoor space. I had just met once a week for the summer library program, just Tuesday mornings. We rolled everything out. Can I share the screen, Carrie? Is that a possible? Because then I can show you some pictures, and I think that's just worth a little more. You're muted, by the way.
Sorry, I talk to myself all the time.
Oh, there
anyway.
we go. We all do, don't we?
Don't even notice. I think I'm going to just try to make you a co-host and see if that lets you share.
Yeah. So as we're working on technicalities, last year was really great because, of course, animals and kids just kind of goes hand in hand. And we, because we're outside, we had live animals just about, here we go, thank you. Just about, there we go, live animals just about every week. And then I also had some community speakers just about every week, actually every week. So, so we had the first day was Pony Day, and we had the rodeo. There's a Wisconsin rodeo, and there's the Lancaster High School rodeo. And so we were lassoing, and then we had I usually do at least three centers, one a STEM center, and then 2 crafts. And then we could get kind of messy too outside. And there's our pony. We had a family bring their pony in. Then we'd have a story to begin with. As I said, we kind of learned a little bit. I had the 3 crafts set up outside, and then the plan was to have everybody gather. I'd read a book, introduce the person that is presenting, but then I had the crafts open, and so everybody started doing the crafts while we were talking. So after that, we decided we're going to throw sheets over the craft tables, and so then it became a little bit more organized. The next time was bats, and so we had Jeff Hipschman come, and then this was his protege here talking about bats. We had all sorts of bat programs, bat crafts, and then we did backyard friends. So we had the ladies from the Big River Organics come over. They have a worm composting program, and then they also do bees. They have an apiary. So we did bees and worms, and it was fabulous. Had a great time. And the next week was, pets. We had the Humane Society come over, talk about pet adoption, and we did pet crafts. And then we also had a dramatic play area where they could wash their animals. And I went to the thrift store, and they just gave me a bunch of animals. And then I had my intern cut holes in all of those animals so that when we had our vet over, they could suture them. So we had a little doctor area. So there's Sally, and she brought the calf. And then we played doctor. And I had brought my light table out, and they had x-rays, and then they bandaged their pets up, and they put the comb of shame on their pets. So, and then we also had some, I don't know, messy projects. We were talking about owls. Jeff Hipchman from the university came over again and helped us dissect some owl pellets. And then we had sheep, and we had the Sarah Sponder spinners come over and to spin some wool. We had the Crooks family come over with their sheep, and we sheared the sheep. And we did some sheep related projects. That was very popular. And we only had one day of rain that we had to bring folks in. And this was Kathy Nelson. She was reading her book about her adoptive dog. And then we did some dog projects inside. We had a pet wash and puppy chow and had a great time. So, so that was really good. Where is it? Nope, not that one. I did Zoom with the kids to promote summer library. So we read a story, and I'd Zoom with the kids at school, and everybody got a brochure like this. And we had the kids do a bookmark contest. So they had to create a Tales and Tales themed bookmark. And we had winners from every class, every single class. Which I don't know if I'd do every class next time or just a couple from the school. Any questions so far? In a nice social media, I don't know if you are aware of this summer library program social media worksheet, but I just kind of stumbled upon it last year, and I thought this is fabulous. So I kind of threw my own plan in here. But they had a very elaborate social media program where they had, and I think they had, I think this is my own, it's not, but they had like different themes, and then they had quotes, and they had images that you could pop up on your social media. And that was really handy because we were quite busy doing our own thing. And we lost our social media person right before summer. And so, and then this is my worksheet, I guess. This was for pony days. So we had, we had Cole and the ponies, and then we had the Burks kids come over and talk about rodeos, and we had these pool noodle ponies. And so here's all my music and everything I needed. So it's kind of a fiasco getting everything outside, but it was great. And we're going to have an intern again this year. So that's nice. And then these were kind of our little social media posts.
So Kristen, I just wanted to tell everybody, Kristen bought the owl pellets, but they were pretty pricey, and there was a lot of them. So she just contacted me, and we ended up splitting the cost. So if you're looking at something that's a little pricey or maybe more than you need, check with some of the other libraries, because it was really great. We used that as one of our Messy Mondays, and they were very interesting. And then the leftovers we put in our grab and goes.
Oh, great idea, because I do have leftovers still. I do want to say that last year our attendance was fabulous. And I don't know if it was because we had these animals outside, or because we were more, if people were walking by, they were wondering what was happening, or just because people were sick and tired of being isolated. So either way, our attendance was way up last year, and I'll take what I can get.
That Kristen, that worksheet that you said you got from social media or something like that.
Yeah.
That had like tasks to do on the different weeks. Could you share that with us, please?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
And that
Kristen,
was
I actually have it in the document that
Oh,
we're
okay.
it's at the bottom, and I was going to show it
Okay.
at the end here.
Thank
great,
you.
great. Okay. Any more questions? I guess I didn't really touch on on our reading logs. We had a director that did kind of mess with Beanstack the year before. I just spent way too much time on it, and it frustrates me, right? Because it's not my wheelhouse. And so she kind of took it over. We had maybe 8 people that had recorded their reading. And I guess it wasn't that bad because I just had to kind of see who, I didn't run a report, but I just kind of went in to see how many tickets and whatnot. So I kind of took that information from Beanstack and then added it to my paper information. So we had a bunch of different, like maybe 8 or 10 different prizes. And some of them were like for teens, but also could be for, for youth, and also could be for adults. So like some craft kits with colored pencils, and then we had like stuffed animals, and we had Baby Yoda, of course, and fidgets, and just different things. And so I had oatmeal containers with a picture of that item on. So every time they returned a reading log ticket, and maybe I'll show you what those look like too. And I think it's here. Nope, it's not. Sorry. Every time they returned a reading log ticket, they got, they could put that ticket in the actual container with the picture. You don't need to see what it looks like. That's fine. Too much. And then at the end of summer, like the end of August, then I went online and I just kind of chose out of the tub each prize. And so then I'd call their name, and then you'd have to look online to see who won, which is nice because then they're communicating with their social media as well. Any questions? You guys are all so dark. I don't see any faces. Hi, Megan. Thanks.
Like subtle pressure. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome. That was a lot of rambling, but
no, it was great. And one thing that I really liked that I was hoping you could add to this document is your planning worksheet. I think, we have a lot of new directors and new youth services people who may not know like how to go about just organizing all of this
For
information.
those of us who need to restart.
yeah, I'd be happy to.
I've done this for a long
You know
time, and
what?
I don't have a nice worksheet like that.
You're always tweaking. I mean, maybe that's my early childhood background, maybe,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am hoping to wrap it up in the next 5 or 10 minutes because I said I would try to keep it to an hour and a half. So I'm not going to go into details about the other resources on this document. I just encourage you to spend some time looking through them, and also view this as a document that we can all share. Please add things to it so that it can be a tool for all of us. A couple of things I want to highlight are the collaborative summer library program resources. This is like the manual, and their website has all the graphics and the fonts and tutorials about how to use their stuff. Kristen talked about the social media toolkit that is also on their website, and I linked it here. And it's like a Google Drive or Google folder that's shared. And you can see, I think this one is the toolkit. Is it changing as I talk?
Yes.
For you? Okay, great. So this is really handy. Like Kristen mentioned, like it talks about suggestions of things that you can post every week and hashtags to use. And it's a live document. So people we'll be updating it throughout the summer. So definitely make it easier on yourself and just copy this stuff.
It
You
was
don't
such
have
a
to-
it was such a lifesaver. And I know that we did end up hiring a social media person, and she tried to change all the graphics. And I'm, you know what, I'm just like, just use what they have because it's so easy.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely. And another one quick thing that I wanted to highlight was the CSLP has a lot of social media, and these are links to all of their main social media pages. But I wanted to talk quick about their Facebook group, because you guys might already know this, but I just figured out that you can like crowdsource all your ideas on Facebook. I don't know if anybody else does that, but that was a game changer for me in my planning. So are you seeing Facebook right now? Yeah. Okay. So this is the official group. So there's 6,000 members, librarians like us, and you can look on there. I'm gonna get my Zoom controls out of the way so I can find the search button here. First of all, they've got all of these different tabs across here where, for example, you can look at certain topics that have already been covered, or sometimes these groups have files. Like here, somebody's already added a reading log and you can just copy it. But the other game changer for me was their search button, where when you click on it and you're thinking like, well, for me, I'm like, I have no idea what to do with second graders tomorrow. But you can search for like school visits, let's say. And read about, oh, this person, you know, doesn't want to do it. I totally get that. But you can also read like all of the recommendations of what people have suggested that they do for school visits. So that's just a quick little tip. And maybe you guys have already figured that out, but that changed my life this year. I'm like, thank you, Facebook. And it turned Facebook into, you know, instead of being something I hate and makes me grumpy, it's more like a professional learning network and source of ideas. So take that for what it is, if you would like to. So that was right here. And then I just added a bunch of links to things that might be good resources, organizations and museums in Wisconsin that have virtual content or educator resources that you might be able to pull from for programs. Caitlin made this summer performer events survey and shared it with everybody. So you can add your programs into here and see what, you know, it creates opportunities to collaborate on. Let's hire the same performer the next day and save some bucks. And let's see, I think this is just that social media toolkit again. Winding River's system has a really great make and take database that you can sort by, like, do you have magnets? And then you can select the filters to figure out what crafts you can use to use up your magnets or whatever. That's also filtered by age and what kind of activity it is. So that's a really nice resource. And I just added some other.
Thank you for telling me that, because we have some really odd and things that I don't know what to do with.
I was like, this is cool. Because yes, you do end up with those piles of leftover things, and maybe owl pellets too, can find some craft ideas, STEM ideas in there. But I've added these topics, so feel free to add your own resources to these different topics. And if I am missing a topic, go ahead and add that too. This at the bottom is just a couple things that people asked that we discussed, and I didn't necessarily get them fit into the does that even make sense? Fit into the outline above. So I just left them there to remind myself that we should try to cover those things too. So if you have stuff to add, and I see that the chat's been blowing up while I'm talking here. I encourage you to add your own resources to this so that we can all share our expertise with each other.
I think we did a lot. We hit that list really. So I think.
Yeah, going into the meeting, it was things that I didn't feel I had necessarily addressed, but yeah, I think you guys covered a lot of this in your presentation. So thank you. I'm just checking the chat quick here. Is there any other questions or comments you guys want to add?
I know Sherilyn had said that she feels a little inadequate because of her small community but I just want to say, I just spoke to people that I already knew. I didn't make new connections last year. This year I'm having a little more, it's a little more challenging because it's, under the sea, and I guess we have the Mississippi, but have to use my imagination a little more, I guess.
If anybody is thinking about using the River Museum for their Oceans
Of
Odyssey,
possibility, yep.
They're doing sharks or stingrays that can come a certain amount of distance from the River Museum, but they're filling up fast. Like I said, we try to keep our programming in June, maybe the beginning of July, and I just barely got into July. So July or August, if you're looking for something. And I appreciate, the science aspect, because for us, the science things are less well attended, and they make it into something more fun because it's a live animal. So.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back to this general local resources, and don't forget, we have the Great Lakes, and PBS just put out a new game, this Legend of the Lost Emerald, where you get to be like an underwater archaeologist and explore this shipwreck off the coast in Lake Michigan, which is really cool. And they have a lot of educator resources and programming that you could organize around that. The Wisconsin Maritime Museum is a newer museum, and is designated a national lakeshore in the area right in front of that museum, because there's so many shipwrecks in there. So there's some fun things to explore there. Also, the Wisconsin Water Library is part of UW-Madison, and I have used some of their resources in the past. I've gotten they have kits, like storytime kits that you can check out. I checked out one about frogs that was really successful during COVID at school. Had lots of books and frog sounds and pictures of frogs, and you could build a whole program around this little backpack of frogs. So those were some of the things that popped into my head as good resources to kind of think, yeah, we're landlocked here. How are we going to do oceans in Wisconsin? But there's a lot of like water things that are still local. And I bet you can think of more. So go ahead and add yours to this list. So that said, I talked for 10 minutes straight. And I don't want to go significantly over. Does anybody have anything else that they want to throw out there or ask before we say goodbye?
Thank you. And if we can maybe do this earlier in the year next year, that would be great, since I kind of wish I had a lot of these resources prior to scheduling my stuff. But I understand it's hard to get the schedules lined up. So thank you.
I can definitely try to do it in February. We have some time off in February.
February would work great. Usually I'm starting to plan in February. This year's different because it is, but I'm way behind.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, thank you, everybody, and hopefully we can meet in person again sometime soon.
Yes.
That would be great. I miss you guys.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and sharing part of your morning and sharing your thoughts. It's been really great to hear them and to see your faces, hear your voices.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye. Bye.